We're watching shares of Apple today as its China shift begins with Foxconn's $433 million chip deal in India. Speaking of India and Apple, the president calling out Tim Cook for the third time in some 4 days over the company's India plans. Steve Kovach joining us now with these latest remarks. What do you make of this?
Yes, I want you to take a listen to what the president said earlier today, because he was calling Tim Cook out publicly again, and a little bit more forcefully and specifically than he has before. Take a listen.
I had a little problem with Tim Cook yesterday. I said to him, Tim, you're my friend. I treated you very good. You're coming in with $500 billion, but now I hear you're building all over India. I don't want you building in India. You can build in India if you want to take care of India, because India is one of the highest tariff nations in the world. It's very hard to sell into India. And they've offered us a deal where basically they're willing to literally charge us no tariff.
So, Scott, look, that is not the outcome the president was looking for. Of course, 2 weeks ago, during Apple's earnings, they painted a kind of new picture of what its supply chain will look like. Now, the plan is iPhones sold in the U.S. will be sourced from India, while other products like Macs, AirPods, and watches are going to come from Vietnam. Meantime, China will supply the rest of the world. So far, though, no commitment from Apple to make iPhones in the United States, which seems to be the goal of this Trump administration. Now, India iPhone production has been ramping up significantly since the pandemic, when supply chains slowed down due to China's COVID lockdowns. It's been ramping up again in response to tariffs. Still, they need a lot more capacity in India to produce the approximately 65 million iPhones sold here in the United States each year. All that's why Trump now says he has a problem with Tim Cook and Apple and the public pressure campaign he's been on all week. Remember, Cook and Apple have made a ton of overtures to Trump and his administration. Cook's personal $1 million donation to the inauguration fund, showing up behind President Trump as he was sworn in, building a new factory to make AI servers in Houston, all of that. But despite that, Apple shares have been underperforming its peers. It's the only Mag 7 stock still negative since Liberation Day on April 2nd, down about 5% since then. Cook has also been credited for managing the relationship with President Trump in the first term better than his peers, but it doesn't seem to be working out so well this time. Don't think Trump's going to be happy until he can hold up an iPhone that's made in the USA, Scott.
Well, then he's going to be unhappy for a long time, more than likely, because the idea that Apple is going to actually manufacture an iPhone here in the United States seems far-fetched at best.
Yeah, far-fetched is exactly what it is. I mean, unless you want, there have been so many analysis of this, Scott, about how much it would cost to make an iPhone here, and that's because Tim Cook smartly built the supply chain over in Asia to be maximally efficient from the raw materials and the processing of those materials to where the devices themselves are assembled. That's why they're able to put out so many iPhones that they do. India is becoming another source for them to do that. But to bring all of that overseas, bring all of that somewhere in the United States would create just an enormously expensive iPhone. So if he does want to hold up that USA-made iPhone, it's going to cost like, what, $3,000 or something like that. So, yeah, it's just not in the cards here. And the question now becomes, Tim Cook kind of in the crosshairs of the president because of this issue and how he can mitigate that situation going forward.
Yeah. Steve, thank you. Steve Kovach with the latest. Josh, you know, is this a literal sideshow and irrelevant in the big picture, or is there legitimate political risk lurking for this company?
So during the first Trump term, we used to have a daily angry tweet from the White House at a corporate leader, and the stock price would have a huge negative reaction to that. It was pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer, and it was tech, and it was automobiles, and everybody had to just kind of accept, like, these landmines are going to be part of the environment that we trade in, and the more you don't react, the better off as an investor you'll be. I don't think anything's changed with that dynamic. The simple fact is India is one of the most tariff-heavy countries in the world, and for the very simple reason that they're a developing nation, and if they didn't erect tariffs, the West would have come in and completely taken over their entire economy. So they protected industries, they protected specific companies, they protected specific investments that they thought it was in their national interest to do that, and to a large extent, they still believe it's in their national interest to do that. Trump seems to be able to sort of get past that. He's got a good relationship with India. Does he want more and more press releases about Apple shifting from China to India? Definitely not. Defeats the purpose. But here's a very simple fact. There's only one product that Apple is manufacturing at scale in the United States currently, today. That is the Mac Pro, not the MacBook, what I'm using here, the desktop, and that is the very high-end version of the desktop. It's an expensive product to begin with. They make it in Texas. Can they do more things in that fab in Texas or elsewhere? 100%. So I think if you're an Apple shareholder, you're not rooting for Apple to throw its margins away and start trying to build, AirPods in Manhattan. I think what you're saying is just do some more press releases. Like, make a few more things. And I think Tim Cook is smart enough to understand that's exactly what he needs to do, and he will.
Yeah, and let's just think about what if the president gets a lot of what he wants? What if we're manufacturing a lot of other things in America? Are there really going to be enough workers? Are there going to be enough resources to be building iPhones, which they shouldn't be in America? You're absolutely right. As you started, I thought about 7 years ago, the Boeing Air Force One tweet, sent the stock down for a couple of days. Leaving all the other Boeing issues aside, it was a complete, it was a complete canard. It meant nothing.